We won't take it back for a minute because this is a healing channel. July 21st, 2021 was the end of an era for me. And I wasn't aware at the time that it was the end of an era because I wasn't prepared. Mentally, physically, or emotionally, I wasn't prepared. And to be frank, very frank, now I can be because I have clarity as I've done a lot of introspection and retrospection. So I can be more frank now, not just because of those reasons. Well, yeah, because of those reasons. Because of the introspection and retrospection that brought me clarity, I can be more honest than I was before because things have been revealed to me during those times that I couldn't quite see before. So to be frank, July 21st, 2021 marked the end of an era for me. But to be frank, it ended way before that. It ended in October, November of 2007. And if I didn't get the fucking memo then, it ended again about 5 years later while he was still serving his prison sentence and my engagement ring broke because we were engaged when he left to do his prison sentence. So about 5 years later, my engagement ring broke, and I was so heartbroken over that. And I felt that I had done something wrong to him, even though it had broken during daily living activities. So I recall pumping gas, and the ring broke. Now, let me just do a quick sidebar. Because I am spiritual and I believe in divine intervention, I'm also full aware that sometimes divine intervention consists of paranormal activity. So when my engagement ring broke, I definitely took it as a sign. I brought it to his attention, and his persuasive words, which made a lot of sense, convinced me that I should not, in fact, listen to my higher self, but that I should definitely consider what he was saying to be fact, because it is and it was something to consider, right? Okay, and I took into consideration, and I did, the hope of black love, for real. The belief that black families can make it no matter what the odds. My belief in him and in myself as someone that I had chosen to love, someone that, in my opinion, had proved himself because he was a protector, he was a provider, and I believed that he was dedicated the same way that I was. I hadn't seen anything different. He hadn't shown me anything different, right? And so we're gonna go fast forward to his return of September 2020. I had, up until this point, dedicated 13 and a half years just short of 14 years of my life to the man that I love while he was incarcerated. And I honestly felt that because he had been taken away from us physically, that a part of being dedicated to him was for me to slow a part of my life down as well. And that's what I did. And so when the final breakup came, of July 21st, 2021, excuse the background, you got kids being upset. Right, so they doing what they do. I hope you can still hear me. But July 21, 2021 was the final end of the era, and I'm explaining y'all. Hold on. Yep. Okay, so let me just say this. I hadn't been aware at those times. The divine intervention meant that while I was still holding on, while I was still changing and holding back parts of my life for someone I didn't want to leave behind, his emotions had started to change. You know when they say that God hears conversations that you didn't hear? You know when they say that God knows your heart? Well, those signs that I was getting was a form of protection. God knew his heart had started to change. God heard the conversations that he had regarding me that I wasn't around to hear myself. And so those divine interventions of paranormal activity were the signs that I was getting to let me know that those were the actual artifacts of the end of that era. But because I was so in love, I had refused to. Yummy. Good, baby. I think the part of my clairvoyance was kind of shut. And so I wasn't able to receive it as it was coming in. Good, baby. That message, I wasn't able to fully receive it the way that it was coming in and at the time it was coming in. Because my belief in us and my hope in him was overriding. My emotions for what I wanted, which was my family, was overriding the divine intervention and the messages that was being sent to me. Because making the sacrifices that I did would not allow my mind to even conceive that he was not feeling the same way anymore. Even all the way to him coming home. I was getting so much silence. And because, again, I had sacrificed so much of myself for them 13 and a half, close to 14 years, I just refused, I think, to actually believe that I had to give up my family or the Holy Trinity, because the Holy Trinity consists of many things. So, I'm on vacation right now with my family. We're all on vacation. I got a sense of clarity and I was able to take some time out because these messages is coming through very rampant. So I wanted to get it out as soon as they was coming through. That upon his return. The pickle. That's it. Eat your chips.
Bye.
Yeah. Okay, I'll see you later. Whoa. Don't take that in the water. No, eat it now and then go in the water.
Bye.
So gimme. Okay, so anyway, so now when I look back, right, and we ended up not making it, and I mentioned the date July 21st, 2021 being the end of the era because for me, that was the last straw for me. I really don't want to go into details, so I'm going to shorten the story. The boys had went away for 2 days, so we had the 2 days to ourselves. And I had intended to use those 2 days for us to just kind of spend some quality time alone, start the journey of getting to know one another again. Because even though at this time he had been home a couple of months already, and we were trying to get into the habit of the change, him being adjusted to living with his family again versus living with fucking cellmates. Myself and the boys getting readjusted to having him re-enter the home and understanding his role in the home. So this was one of those times where we were solely able to like fully be alone because the boys went away for 2 days. And instead of us being able to, thank you, Papa. Instead of us being able to enjoy each other and kind of figure out which way we wanted to go from there and kind of orchestrate some type of outline of a plan on how we wanted to proceed. And it actually could have been the point. That's what I wanted. But I also feel like now, looking back, that was the perfect time for him to be able to say that, you know, this isn't what I want anymore, or this isn't going to work for me anymore. You know, the breakup phase or talk or whatever. This was the perfect time for that. But instead, he chose another way out, which was to have a whole fucking argument, fight. Like, he picked the fight. We had a whole argument, and it was so asinine and minute because it was something that he made up that I can't even remember right now what it was that we was arguing about. Now, this was July 18th and 19th of 2021. So the 2 days that the boys was gone, we spent arguing. And me still wanting to save the relationship is not being fully aware that I couldn't save it on my own. I thought that I had this super love because my love was pure and my intent was true. I thought I had this super love where I would be able to give him whatever it was that he was lacking to help us stay afloat, child. And it is dawning on me at this time of this argument that, oh shit, he don't want to be here. Now, leading up to this argument, we've had plenty more arguments, right? Plenty more. And the arguments will always confuse me. And when I would reach out to my friends, people who I thought had an interest in assisting me at the time, when I would reach out to them, they would tell me things that I still didn't understand. Like, oh, you know, he's going to try and destroy you. And I I didn't understand because I was just like, wait a minute. The man that I fell in love with and the man that loved me would not ever destroy me. Would not ever seek to try to destroy me. So why are you saying this? Why are you telling me that? People would say, oh, it's not you, it's him. And I knew that much. I knew that much. I would reach out to some of his friends that I got in contact with through social media, because when he first came home, I had this whole big hoorah on social media, and they was watching some type of way, and they reached out, so I was able to contact them that way, and I was reaching out to them just trying to get an understanding, like, you was with him longer than I was at this point, and can you help me understand what's going on? And they were saying things that were so demeaning of my character, like, he's telling us this. You're trying to rule him, you're trying to govern him, you're trying to run his life, you're trying to tell him what to do, and I'm just like, what? So it still was not coming to me that what they were saying was factual, right? Because this is indeed what he was doing. But I was unaware still that he was setting up the stage for his exit. Right? Hold on. Right? So I was still unaware that what they were saying was true. And something in me knew that they weren't lying, but that's where the confusion came in at. Because I was saying the person that loved me wouldn't say those things, so why is he saying those things? Why are they saying these things? Why would he feel that way if he loved me? If he wants our family, if we're trying to rebuild and get us back on track, why would he be saying these things? You want to know why? Because he was setting up the stage for his exit. And his exit was actually to demean my character and try to change the perception that people had of me, try to change the way people dealt with me, all because he didn't want to feel the brunt of the wrath and judgment that people would have on him for dealing with me the way he did. And what I mean by that, right, is that I dedicated so much of my life to him, and the vast majority of the people knew that. They knew the sacrifices and dedication that I made for him, not just when we were together, but also during a time when we were still together during his incarceration. See, they knew that, right? And for him to turn around and leave meant that he was a fucked up, foul ass nigga. He didn't want that type of judgment. He didn't want that type of reputation. So what he started was a fucking smear campaign, because he needed people to be on his side. Like, he tried to have flying monkeys, and he probably did. He tried to recruit people to feel a type of way towards me to soften their perception of him. He needed to set the stage so that when he left, he wouldn't look so foul and fucked up. So that people could say, oh, I know why he left. I understood why he left. Because when he came home, she was trying to do this. She was trying to do that. You know, he needed to fuck my image up. He couldn't be the only one with a fucked up image, because it's like, yo, you did this shit, you left her out there in the street while she was pregnant, you went to jail, you came home, you know, she did all of this for you and all of that with you and all of that for the family or whatever, and then you came home and then you turned around and fucking left her. That would give him the image of a fucked up ass nigga. He didn't want that. his self-esteem and his ego could not fucking take that. So he set the stage up, in fact, to try to destroy me so that he wouldn't look so bad on his own. Right? Right, pardon me, again, I'm on vacation. So yeah, so you know, that in clarity of it, Boogie, Pickle's calling you. So in the it's come to my awareness and my understanding after the fact. That's what he did. While I was going through it, I couldn't understand it. You know, while I was going through it, because I was saying to myself, as I couldn't understand it, why would someone that loved me be trying to do this to me? It did not dawn on me that he felt threatened by my love and wholeness and completeness. It did not even dawn on me that all the time that we was together, all the years that we was together, even before he fucking caught that case and did that time, I never fucking knew that he really didn't know me and really didn't get to know me, because I was taking the time to get to know him. And how I concluded that was because you always had, or he always had, I've always been a strong woman. Meaning, I always been a get money type of bitch. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because under the conditions that we met, I thought that he knew that. I always been a woman that knew what she wanted. I always been a woman that knew how to conduct myself inside the home and outside of the home. Like, it's just common things about me that later became a threat to him that wasn't a threat in the beginning. And because it became a threat to him later, made him uncomfortable, or the fact that he didn't like it, is what confused me. Because I thought he knew this all along. I had no idea that he didn't know it. And I feel like he didn't know it because even though I grew as a person, I grew more loving. I didn't grow more hateful or more ugly. I didn't stray from who I originally was. I grew more into myself. So I grew more loving. You know, I grew more sharing. I grew more as a woman. And the only thing that changed is that the way that I showed my love grew tenfold. It grew even more than it did before. So the fact that he felt some type of way about it negatively now is the indication to me that, oh my gosh, who I am now bothers you, but who I was before didn't bother you. So that means you didn't know who I was before. Because I only grew more into myself now as the years changed. I didn't stray away from myself. You, however, it appears that you're straying away from who you were. Because as I said before, you was a protector, you was a provider, you was a partner. You're not that now. You're showing and displaying and acting on separatism, on ego. And I told him, you know, in one of our many arguments, you're acting out of your ego, and that is definitely not a way to interact with me. I don't respond, or I don't operate out of ego when it comes to the people that I love. Now, maybe if I'm doing a business deal, maybe if I'm at work, that's different. But while I am here and in my family, I'm totally vulnerable. So you operating out of your ego is not communication to me. It's fucking you trying to shut me out, and that is not what I want for myself. You know? And so ultimately and overall, we argued July 18th, July 19th, July 20th. When the boys came home, we were still fucking arguing. And then July 21st, he decided to pack his shit and leave. I guess At that
No.
point, he had had enough.
I said
And
no.
he decided to pack his shit and leave.
Don't cause me confused.
And this particular time, I obliged him. But I can't say that I did it on my own. Because I did. As I watched this man curse me out, disrespect me, physically, emotionally, verbally, God
Cairo.
had my
One
tongue and my hands bound.
I ain't playing with you.
Bound. I cannot even express how real that was for me, because as much as it was in my mind to go hard in the paint with this nigga, I couldn't say nothing. I couldn't even fight back. I was bound. And so I sat there and cried. I bawl. You hear me? Crot. And not only because I knew in that moment that my life was going to change for the rest of my life, but I cried because I could not understand why God wouldn't let me free. Because he needed to get fucked up. I wanted to fuck this nigga up. I wanted to beat this nigga ass.
Cairo.
He deserved to get his ass beat by me. Tongue lashing, fist lashing. Because I knew it was over when he was packing his shit, cursing me
Hi,
out,
don't go
all
that
this shit.
way.
I knew
Come this
it.
way.
And I just couldn't understand why God wouldn't let me free to do what I had to do at that time. At that time, I didn't understand it. Later on, in introspection and retrospection, I understood it. Now I understand it. In clarity, I understand now. I didn't understand then. And I understand that it had been over many times before that day. I understand now. I understand now that
Stop. If you
he was
fall
only
back,
supposed to
you
carry
water no more, right?
me and these kids to a certain point. He was not for the long haul. He was not supposed to carry us or go with us on our journey the rest of the way. But at that time then, and even during the time of his incarceration, I was unprepared for that truth. I was unprepared to deal with that level of heartache for that truth. There was a certain level he was supposed to go for with us. That was it.
Come before you before.
He wasn't supposed to come with us the rest of the way.
Where you
And
going?
I was so heartbroken because he didn't want that for himself. Because he didn't love himself enough to want better, to do better, to elevate. And if he didn't want it for himself, if he couldn't love himself enough, there was no way that he could love me and these kids to go along with us. But I see now I'm coming up on a half hour and I don't want to kill the time. So I'm definitely going to pick up later. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hearing me out in part 2 of this story. I'm sorry, part 1 of this story. I'm going to pick up in part 2 later. But that was the message that I had to get out. How sometimes we get in our own way because we are not prepared for the lesson at that time. We are not prepared for the truth at that time. And so we get in our own way of divine intervention. And that is a part of the way that stifles our ascension. When we get in our own way, it gets us stuck. It stifles our growth and ascension. And it gets in the way of our ease. Because our life is definitely made to be in ease. But sometimes that ease and that peace, the sacrifice of it is heartache. And when that heartache comes, we are not always necessarily prepared for it. So we try to prolong it as much as we can by wearing rose-colored glasses, by blocking out the truth, by not being accepting of what's actually being shown to us at the time. We're not prepared to deal with the heartache or the heartbreak at that time. We don't want it because we know what it consists of. We know it. And we don't want to deal with that shit. But that also stifles our long-awaited peace and easement, you know. But stay tuned for part 2. I'm going to do part 2 a little later.